Hi, good morning. Nice of you to join in.
Hi,
Hi,
Medha.
Pragya. I hope today you're able to see me.
No, I think there's something up. I might just have to restart all of Instagram, but it's okay.
All right. So, thank you for joining us on this Sunday morning. It was such a lovely conversation that we had last week about the preconception phase and the different learnings from that phase. And for all of you that have joined in today, in case you haven't checked it out, please go check out that story, that live. Um, Conversation that we had with Pragya. And it is a very, very heartful, very wonderful way to look at everything and understand what you can learn from yoga, from just being open to this entire journey. Even though there are hiccups, even though there are challenges, even though there are ups and downs, how do you actually go through it and what are the learnings basically, right? So I think it was a very nice conversation. So I'm very, very excited to take this forward into the pregnancy phase because with all the things that you shared with us last week, I'm so curious to know how your pregnancy journey has been so far. So take us through it. Over to you.
So the pregnancy itself has been very nice, like very comfortable for me.
Mm-hmm.
I have been active throughout my pregnancy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been like I think comparatively like easier than it is for a lot of people. Although in the first trimester I had nausea all the time, and I had like food aversions, but like I wasn't throwing up. I was active, like I wasn't asked to be on bed rest or anything like that. Structurally, like physically, I was fine. I don't remember catching any colds or anything like that in the first trimester, which would sort of put me in conflict with like medications and things like that. I haven't been medicated for pregnant. I've slept really well. So all in all, it's been a really nice time. I think like I would describe my pregnancy as healthful. And right now I'm in my third trimester. Like it's just started. Like it started at the beginning of this week. And so even my second trimester, like your hormones start to even out in the second trimester. So the second trimester also, I was able to, in fact, work out even more regularly, like practice yoga even more regularly. I was more energetic also, which is what happens. I mean, it's usually expected that your second trimester will be more, you'll feel a lot more energetic. But I think what for me has really characterized this entire pregnancy journey is like the idea that it was healthful. I never felt like low on energy, and I've enjoyed it from day one. So that's pretty much been what it's like for me.
How wonderful. So, just a curious question here. Did you know? I mean, did you feel that you were pregnant like very early on, or did the symptoms start a little later?
So I think, like I write about this also in my blog. I just recently published a blog about this. That I think I conceived when I was dancing with my teacher in Nagpur. I'd gone for a dance camp with her, and I think there, like towards the end, I was there about 4 or 5 days, and towards the end, I started to feel a little, like a kind of like a little tired, and like my head would spin a little bit. But then I said, okay, maybe that's just because because I was dancing all day, like 12 hours a day we were just dancing. So I thought, maybe it's because of that. So I don't think like I really felt anything. But yes, after we went to the doctor to confirm the pregnancy, I don't know whether it was psychological or whether that's, whether you do get the symptoms in the fifth week of pregnancy. But I think that's when the symptoms started, where and again, it wasn't like I started vomiting and stuff like that, or that I was just fatigued. It wasn't like that. For me, it was like very gradual. It was like my body was strong enough to handle those symptoms. So it began with me not liking the taste of things that I like. Like, for instance, coffee is something that I have every day. So I remember like I would have my coffee in the morning and I'd be like, okay, this tastes kind of weird. So I think that's what happened for me. And if I also feel that, perhaps if I had not been so aware of like my taste buds, like, as yoga teachers, practitioners, we're always we're like alert all the time, like very alert to like our surroundings, what we're tasting, what we're smelling, hearing, and everything. So I think, the reason maybe that I could feel something like a slight shift in taste or smell, like my sense of smell, was might have just been because of that, because we are vigilant as yoga practitioners, and maybe if I hadn't been so vigilant and maybe had so like in touch with my senses, then maybe I wouldn't even have noticed that. So yeah.
Wonderful. So, how has your yoga journey been during the pregnancy? Did you, typically doctors say the first trimester it's generally not recommended, especially, I mean, of course, for you that wouldn't be the case because you've practiced yoga for a very long time. But for a lot of people, people say that, first trimester is the most crucial. The body is
Yeah.
adapting to this new journey, and it's good to just walk and do nothing else. But
Mm.
did you follow that? Was it different? What did you do?
Well, I had looked to yoga during my journey of conceiving also, and it was like my teachers had given me specific routines for conception.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I found out that I had conceived, I went back to my teachers again, and they gave me a routine for the first trimester. Now, in the
Mm-hmm.
first trimester, from the yogic point of view, we do work on relaxing the body. We don't want, because the pregnancy is unstable. I mean, even scientifically, like the pregnancy is very unstable in the first trimester. It takes a little while, for, at least 3 months, for the pregnancy to like really establish itself. So with yoga, it's just that it's like every like the routines that I was given, the sequences I was given, they were basically to promote the pregnancy, like a long, like a stable and healthy pregnancy. So I know there's always a tendency for, especially for those of us who are used to working out every day, and intense workouts. And like I have a background where I used to be overweight, and through working out and like controlling my diet, I actually lost a lot of weight. So for me, working out is like an integral part of my life. And not being able to do that initially, like when I was trying to conceive, initially it was very challenging. But then when I understood why the sequences are there, I understood like the thought process that goes behind having your body relax, trying to change the hormonal balance of the body, trying to keep cortisol levels down. When I understood that, then I think I was able to really kind of relax and sink into the sequences. So that's how it was for me also initially. Like my sequences, like the yoga that I was doing, was not very challenging. I did not do any of the advanced asanas. The focus was just on relaxing the mind and relaxing the body to promote a stable pregnancy. And I was on board with that. So I didn't try to play around with that. And I don't suggest that also. I think the first 3 months, your body is going through so many changes, that I feel that if I had been too focused on just getting my workout in for the day, or focused on eating the way I felt is that I used to eat before, because see, my taste buds also changed, so I wasn't eating the same way. So I feel that if I had been too fixated on working out as usual or eating as I used to, then I wouldn't really have been able to like enjoy my pregnancy, the first 3 months also. I think in a way I learned how to let go of that hyperactive activity that I perhaps I was how I was. It really did teach me to like let things go, slow down, and just be aware of the changes and appreciative, of the change that's happening in my body. Yeah.
So, could you tell us a little bit more about, I mean, you said that it was designed to promote a healthy pregnancy,
Yeah.
right? So, what does that mean? Like for the yoga teachers who've tuned in, and for the practitioners who are going through the first trimester, could you give us like an idea of what what kind of practice promotes a healthy pregnancy? I know we're going to deal with this later in one of the other lives that we do, but just as a like a broad general idea.
Yeah. So so immediately, as whenever a woman wants to conceive, and whenever she does actually conceive, we always, as yoga teachers, we think about the pelvic cavity. We think about the abdominal, the uterus cavity as well. So what we try to do is we try to expand that area so that the implantation can occur, and the growing fetus can have enough space, and too much compression in that area shouldn't happen, because that can cause distress to the fetus. Of course, in yoga we don't talk about it only on the physical terms. We also talk about the spiritual growth of the fetus, of the baby. So we always think about sequences from that point of view. So not only was I doing asanas which required me to lie down, relax, like a lot of supine asanas, like Supta Baddha Konasana, Supta Virasana, all of these supported with props, like a lot of bolsters under me. So we weren't focusing so much on like flexibility. I wasn't focusing on building strength, but we were just focusing on creating enough space in the pelvis so that the uterus has enough space to just be and to relax. We don't want too many contractions happening in the uterus. So, like twisting, twisting is not allowed. Like intense twisting is not allowed. Open twists are okay, but like closed twisting, where you're twisting towards your leg, because again, that compresses the abdominal cavity. We don't want to do that. So a lot of all of the sequences basically that I followed were following these guidelines. So starting with a lot of supine asanas, trying to get your mind and body. You'd be surprised. Like I before this, I've never spent so much time just lying down with my legs in various positions. And now I was doing that for like half an hour in every single class, and I found that what that did was actually help me in calming down the body, because eventually, if you have to stay in a particular posture, there's no other go. Your mind eventually will calm down. All the thoughts will eventually calm down. So that's what was happening. So we were working from that angle also, from the mind angle also, calming down the mind at the same time, keeping the pelvis open, ensuring that the uterus has enough space to grow, ensuring like in the second trimester that there's no distress being caused to the fetus by too much movement. And also we were doing a lot of inversions, because inversions again give a lot of space in the pelvis. Inversions with like in Baddha Konasana, Shirshasana with Baddha Konasana legs, Sarvangasana with wide legs. All of that were sequences which were given to me, asanas which were given to me. So I'd say it was pretty much like, it was very similar to, I mean, these are just the same yogasanas, but how you do them changed. So, and I was very strict about that. Like if
And maybe
I
what you
practiced them.
focus on. What
Yeah.
you focus on, how much time you spend, and what the goal is. Like if you have the idea of the intention behind, holding an asana for that long, that maybe you will eventually get into that experience.
Yeah.
Even if there are lots of things that happen early on. Like you get
Yeah.
distracted, you get restless, you just want to get out of it. But then if you just stick to it, then slowly things start to slow.
Yes. Yeah. And that was my experience. Yes.
Okay. All right. So a lot of people also ask me, because everybody talks about how yoga is a holistic practice, right? It's not just about the body. There is a very very strong element of the breath, and more importantly, everybody is saying that yoga is about tuning your mind and making sure that your mind is open to experiences and perspectives. Now, a lot of people ask me, about pranayama during pregnancy
Mhm.
and meditation during pregnancy. What is
Yes.
your take on it? Did you do any of those? How did it help?
Yes. So from the beginning, my teachers focused on opening up the diaphragm also. So it's not just like the uterus that we want to expand, because the uterus will grow, like the baby will grow upwards. Your diaphragm will get compressed, and that'll make it more difficult for you to breathe. So that's one aspect. Another thing is that if you don't have good posture, and your shoulders sort of flop forward and your diaphragm and rib cage sort of bend forward, then again that causes stress on the baby, on the uterus. So it compresses the uterus. So from the beginning, we were very clear that in every single asana, the chest has to remain lifted. The diaphragm, the sternum, all of these have to remain lifted to promote better breathing. And when I was in the supine asanas, again, I was supposed to be focusing on my breath, long inhalations, long exhalations. We did not practice any vigorous pranayam. All the pranayam was meant just to get the mind and body in mind and breath and body in sync. So pranayam was there from the beginning, but again, it was not very intense pranayam. It was breath work, which was more designed to relax the body, and like not sort of put me in a state of distress if I wasn't able to keep the counting, or the diaphragm like flapping too hard, or the lungs flapping too hard. So again, it was like very gentle pranayam, but every single uh, I was doing it every single day, and for long periods of time, because I was in supine asanas for like half an hour every day. So we were focusing on that like every day. So yes, I practiced a lot of pranayam as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I've also noticed, as a person who teaches a lot of prenatal women, I've noticed that this is a time where visualization and generally imagery is quite potent in terms of calming the body, calming the mind, and I noticed that it also has an effect on breath and generally the ease of being. So did you do any meditations, any specific ones, anything that helped you, or did you do anything which is not like a meditation practice, or did you lean into philosophy of yoga? you know
Mm.
how did you address the mind and the mental consideration, because it's a time of a lot of anxiety. There's equal excitement and there's equal anxiety. There are so many things involved with pregnancy. So could you tell us what you did?
Yeah, so my Vedanta teacher, so I've been studying Vedanta for about the last 5 years, since both of us were in S. Vyasa and we met Subhadra ma'am. So I've been studying with her since then. And I remember having a very candid conversation with her about my conception journey also. And she was so happy when I conceived, and even when I was trying to conceive, was not happening. She would always sometimes like interpret the text that we were studying. We were studying the Gita at that time. She would interpret the texts so that they would make more sense to me, so that I could read something in the text which would help me. I could make the text more relevant for me. So I think Vedanta, like the study of Vedanta, really helped, because repeatedly, the point that you're supposed to make. To make an effort but not be attached to the fruits of the effort, all of that is constantly reinforced. And I think just having those classes with her 4 times a week, just to be able to listen to that philosophy, it really helped me in my journey to conception. And once I had conceived, then I noticed that all of a sudden, all of the texts had more like mother-child references, examples, and yeah, and it was very sweet. I mean, she never said like she's doing it specifically for me, but even just this morning, we were studying the Katha Upanishad, and she was, it was just like the mother-child references again, how to raise a child, all of that, like so she really made an effort to make it more applicable and relevant to me, so that I could get something from the journey that I was going through, so that I could actually feel that Vedanta is like a way of life, and it's not just something in the textbooks and stuff. And I'm really glad of that and appreciative of that. Also, she did ask me to start chanting a lot more, because again, when we think about pregnancy from like the Eastern point of view, from the yoga and Vedanta point of view, we think not only of the physical growth of the baby, but we're also thinking about like the ears starting to work, the mind starting to work. So she was very particular. She said, you should try to chant every day, a little bit every day. It's good for the baby. It's good for you. I found that chanting also really helped me.
So the entire process of Garbha Samskara, right? To culture the baby, not just physically through all the medicine and the food and everything that you're eating and doing, but also think of the baby as an entire being of the mind, energy, as well as the body, and saying, okay,
Yeah.
as a mother, I'm going to be doing this, and this, so that the baby has a development overall.
Yeah. And it's in the modern terms that we think about garb samskar, like it as a separate practice.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are in touch with yoga teachers, if you're in touch with Vedanta teachers, even like Ayurvedic practitioners, these are things which are natural. They don't like sort of class them under like a separate category that you have to specifically do. These teachers, like especially senior teachers, they'll give you tidbits of advice, and it'll automatically put you give you that garb samskar. It's not something separate, like separate for us.
So
Like I
it's
never had to really
integrated.
register for a course. It's integrated. Yes. Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like you have to do something specifically for it. It's just
Yeah.
small things that you do that sort of have this overall experience.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I mean, that I can't be more grateful for that, because I feel that it's a very natural thing that's happening. I know a lot of other women, who are pregnant, and they have to sort of, look for courses for Garb Samskar. And there's so many things on Instagram also that I've seen, ads that I've seen. But I feel grateful that for me it's all been a very integrated approach, just because of the blessings of the teachers, and like the yoga community that I'm a part of. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Maybe you do a lot more videos, or share it with the rest of the world in a different way when you have the time. Of course, I know you're
Yeah.
extraordinarily busy as well, but that would be something that I'm sure would help a lot of people, because I think that right now we've moved. I mean, we've moved into a space where everything is scheduled, and there's a calendar, and then there is a specific time
Yeah.
where there's so much focus on these things, but just the entire quality of life, just doing it as something that you normally do, just like you have food, you do this, and you do practice, and you have that holistic sense of life, which is so important, I think.
Yes.
So maybe we would love to hear it, and this is something that we can think about a little bit,
Yeah.
right?
That'll be nice. Yes. Mm.
So, the next question that I have is that during your entire conception journey, you reached out to a lot of these alternate health practices, right? You
Mhm.
did acupuncture, right? I'm so sorry,
Mhm.
and you did. I mean, a whole bunch of things, pranic
Yes.
healing and things like that. So, did you continue that? Or did you feel like, you wanted to focus on some and drop the others? How did that go?
I A lot of the things I just kept doing, like for instance, so for pranic healing specifically, my pranic healer told me that I don't have to continue the session. So they also in pranic healing also, they have certain number of sessions that they prescribe what they want to work on you, and depending on the state of your chakras. So for pranic healing, I did what my guide, pranic healer, told me to do, which was, I think the first trimester. So the first 3 months, we were, when I was trying to ascertain that it is indeed a stable pregnancy, we kept the sessions going. And it really did help me. She said that there's no need for me to continue post the implantation phase. But I found that, the pranic healing was also relaxing me. I found it very useful on all levels, even on a physical level. So I continued that with her for the first 3 months. And after that, she said, you really don't need to, because it is time consuming as well. So she said, you can do meditation on your own, you can do breathing on your own, but you don't really have to have this time. You don't have to dedicate this time with me. So I took her advice. Acupuncture is something that I started in the second trimester. Acupuncture is good like once a week or twice a week. I have time on the weekends, so sometimes I drop in on the weekends to get acupuncture done. With all of these practices, also though, I would say that these are because I dabbled in them. before I got pregnant also. And because like I did a lot of my own research and I found the right practitioners, like good practitioners. So I would, always recommend that if somebody wants to do it, these are great things, great supportive um, practices for your pregnancy. They promote a healthy pregnancy, but only if you're able to find the right practitioners. Just like a good yoga teacher is important, like the right yoga teacher and a good yoga teacher. Similarly, you have to go to the right acupuncturist. You have to go to the right pranic healer. All of this is related to energy, so there's a certain amount of like your gut instinct that you have to use, and it's not easy to find good practitioners for these practices as well. So I did continue like the acupuncture and the pranic healing in the first trimester, but only because I had like a great healers working that I was working with. So
So how
yeah, now it's yeah.
like I'm sure that it took some time for you to find somebody that you resonate
Yes.
with, right? Because healing is such a personal journey that you really need to see, like you can have a lot of amazing healers but you may not
Yes.
resonate with them, right? And since it's such a personal journey, I'm sure you went through a process of trial and error, and you kept your mind open and until you find somebody that worked for you,
Yes.
right? So could you tell us a little bit more, because I think that a lot of people get stuck on this in this topic,
Yes.
on this topic. So
Yes.
like how do you know that somebody is somebody you resonate with?
So from the beginning of my journey, and I have written about this and even spoken about it on my YouTube videos, I have been very vocal about whatever I have been feeling, you know. So and a large part of that did come with knowing how I was feeling, and again, that's because of the yoga, because I was in touch with what I was feeling, because I was aware of what I was feeling. So I was able to speak about it in an empowered way. Once I started speaking about it, I didn't just speak about it to with just anybody or on social media or make a huge, hue and cry about, whatever I was feeling and or not feeling. I actually spoke to people who I trust, so we had conversations about what I was going through. Similarly, there were other friends of mine who I still talk to. I still talk to all of you guys. So there's a bunch of people who I trust, so I spoke to everybody I trusted, and people would then, perhaps maybe seeing my vulnerability or seeing or because maybe I was just clearly asking, can you advise something, or do you know anybody who can help? And so I was either really vulnerable, or maybe I was like point blank asking for help and advice. I started to get a lot of help from people. Like I have friends who reached into their networks and found people who had done who had practiced, like gone to an acupuncturist, who gave me feedback. Or who shared numbers. I had friends who had gone to specific doctors or through specific like procedures. Like those women had undergone them, and those women also, even though they didn't know me, they had never seen me or met me, they were so open about sharing their stories with me, so I think that's how it happened, because I was very, very vocal with a trusted circle of friends
Mm-hmm.
about what I was going through and what I was looking for. And also I was very I put effort into it. Like I did go and check out healers. At least I took one consultation with them. I did my own research also, which is something that I would encourage everybody to do. Don't just rely on like one doctor or one healer. You have to do your own research. And when you have a combination of all of these things, you have people you trust, you have like a network of people through these people that you trust, and then you're open minded. You've done your own research and you're open minded. I think you can really sort of start to get a sense for people, and it's just about that. It's about having that human sense for people. Because a doctor, like let's say like an allopathic doctor, he might have gone to the best universities, he might have helped like millions of people, but ultimately you're not a statistic, and you should not think of yourself as a statistic. You shouldn't say that, oh, he's helped so many people, so I'm sure he's going to help me too. It's not like that, you know. You are an individual and you have specific needs and you have had a journey,
And
and everybody's
values too.
different.
Values too, right? Because I think
Yeah,
when you meet people, especially healers, you're able to see if your value systems
yeah,
align. If
yeah,
the healer is able to understand and appreciate where you come from and where you want to go. Maybe
yeah.
they have different views, maybe they have different values, maybe they have different experiences
Hmm.
that make them, right? That doesn't make
Yeah,
them bad healers. They just don't make for I mean, you probably may not be a good match there. That's it,
yeah,
right? So I think
yeah. Mm.
also just knowing that each interaction builds a level of trust, like a person that you resonate with makes you feel more confident and elevated. Maybe
Yeah.
you don't know the answers to everything, but you get a sense that, okay, I'm willing to go on this journey with this person, is something that, that feeling is very important, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yes.
All right, wonderful. So I have one last question about this.
Hmm.
Have you been teaching through your entire pregnancy journey?
Yes. Yes, thankfully, nothing has hindered that. I've
Mm-hmm.
kept a full schedule. In fact, in my first trimester, I would feel okay only while I was teaching. Maybe it was because I was distracted, or maybe because I was moving around so much. But that nausea would be, at bay when I was in class. And so I was teaching all throughout my first trimester, despite the nausea. And then, second trimester is just over. I kept a full schedule. I'm going to be teaching all the way till the end of March, if everything goes well. Till the end of March. I really enjoy what I do, and it brings me a lot of joy. I don't feel like I have to go to work or I have to teach. It's something that I really enjoy. So I think in that way, my yoga sort of worked for me also, that I haven't felt like I have to do this. I've wanted to keep teaching. I've wanted to keep studying. So I've kept teaching, and I'm going to teach for another, I guess, 2.5 months. About 2.5 months. Yeah.
I mean, your enthusiasm about yoga literally jumps off the screen when you say this, like you're just so excited by what you're doing. Uh, just a few curious questions about this again, because see, as a teacher, you have to be, up and about, and you're moving around a lot. And with the growing bump, did you feel any balance issues? Did yoga practice help you with that? Because the body changes, and
Mhm.
especially when you're more sensitive to your body, then you're more sensitive to the changes too.
Yeah.
So, did you find any kind of did the body as the body
Yeah.
changed, did your mind also sort of start understanding it just parallelly, or did you have to put some effort, or did the practice help? How did that happen? How
Yeah.
did your
I
body sense
mean,
evolve?
I knew that the body was going to change. That's something I knew. Like, I've helped so many women during the prenatal phase, and I knew the body was going to change. I think how yoga helped me was that I wasn't afraid, or I wasn't worried about this change. Like, I knew the body was going to change, and because of the yoga practice and because of all the teachers and the healers who were guiding me, I didn't want to fight the change. I didn't, I wasn't looking to be one of those women who says, like, oh, I didn't feel anything. It was so easy. Like, I wasn't looking to have that sort of pregnancy. There is a lot of this idea. A lot of people have this idea that whatever they were doing before they got pregnant, they should just continue it, whatever they were doing. But this idea never made sense to me, because your body is going through so much on a hormonal level, on a physical level. So I knew that my body was going to change, and I think what helped was that I was not looking to fight that change. I was, because once your mind is in that mode that, nothing's happening, or I just have to do this, or I just have to do a few more squats, and then my lower body will be strong, and then I won't feel unstable or whatever. I was never in that frame of mind. I knew that the body was going to change, and that is what made me more careful. So I never slipped, I never fell, I never twisted or did any move which made me which was contraindicated for pregnancy. From the first trimester till now, I have never accidentally done anything, because I have just I accept the fact that my body is going through so many changes, and it's best to work with the body rather than work against it and try to like tell my mind to keep my body as it was before and all of that. So I think when we talk about growth, like pregnancy being a period of growth physically and emotionally and mentally, I think that mental aspect we don't get. We a lot of women who are not into holistic health and holistic healing, like they don't really get exposed to that. So for me, yes, all of these changes were happening. Like it's not so easy. Like I'm in my third trimester now. I'm bigger than I've ever been in my life, actually. So I don't expect to be able to get up and sit down with ease. I don't demonstrate, like the closed twists. Like I said, I spend a lot of time sitting in my class and just giving instructions, and I have to really say that, my students have been so supportive of that. All my students have been so supportive. They I sit and then they try their best to listen to the instructions and do the class, and it's been like a teamwork. The classes have been like a teamwork. So I feel the imbalance, I feel the extra weight, I feel the slowness. I'm not fast, I'm not supposed to be fast, I'm not supposed to be balanced. I'm supposed to be working with my body, just enjoying this phase. And that's how I've approached it. Yeah.
So a lot of women also have this fear that once the pregnancy is over, the body may not really go back to the way, the energy levels pre-pregnancy, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and even then there may be some things that are not just the same. Do you have those fears as well? Have you thought about any of this?
Yeah.
Could you throw some light on your
Yeah.
thought process?
Yeah, I think, prior to getting pregnant, it was like that. When I was not able to conceive for a while, I remember speaking to a counselor, and she said, okay, tell me what your fears are. And I was like, okay, maybe subconsciously I feel that, I'm going to lose my body and not be able to get in shape again, and just think about the worst case scenarios, and maybe that'll happen to me. So I remember very clearly I had this conversation with a counselor. And I remember the counselor also at the time. She said, "Well, that's very natural. Like all women feel that way. That's very natural to feel, but not all women. But most women, end up going back to how they used to be." So I remember that was the first time I voiced this kind of fear or hesitation, that most women have. I guess maybe even all women have. But I think again, like it has been a journey of growth and exploration for me. Undoubtedly, it's been that. It can't not be. I conceived when I was 41. I came to this journey with a certain amount of maturity, with a certain amount of understanding, and I wanted to be on this journey. So yes, I am. Yeah, we all think about that. How, what if you're not able to get back to the pre-pregnancy weight, or the way we used to look, or stretch marks on your skin, and the energy levels, and will I be tied down, and more responsibilities, etc., etc., etc. But again, I think my yoga, the holistic health practitioners that and also my friends who are yoga teachers, like you and so many other friends who are yoga teachers or alternative health practitioners, our approach to this is very different, right? We are not trying to fight the change that has happened. We're working with the changes that are happening, and now I feel like we're going to work with the changes that we will see, post pregnancy. It's that's all it is, right? Like that you have to work with it. That we'll see what happens. And I remember one of my yoga teachers said, "Oh, there's so many things we can do. We'll see how it is." So don't worry about it right now. Although it's natural to worry, but when you have, like, me specifically, like I have been practicing yoga for so long. I've been talking to these alternative health healers for so long. I do feel a sense of empowerment and confidence that it might take a while, but eventually, you can get your body and your energy levels and your mind to the state that it used to be. At the same time, it is a different phase of life. It's not just like a small parenthood, or motherhood is not just like a small temporary thing that you just want to experience and come out of. It's part of you. So you have to work with that. I think yoga has really taught me that level of flexibility, that level of empowerment, that I'll be able to handle it.
Wow, that's a fantastic answer, Pragya, because I think at the same time there is so much openness, and your what you just said also says that there's so much hope to any change that happens, right?
Yeah.
And as long as you don't fight the change to begin
Yeah.
with, right? As long as you're not opposed to the change, you say yes, this is what's happening, and then you see what to do about it, right? I think that
Mm.
that is the first step. The fear honestly keeps making everybody feel like, okay, I'm going to close my eyes, nothing has changed, I'm the same person, and it's going to be all right. So there's a lot of reassurance that we put ourselves through, where we're
Yeah.
constantly saying, oh, this didn't happen. But the moment you say, oh wait, this is happening, then your responses just
Yeah.
change, right? So I think that that's a very nice way to look at it. It's been a very, very nice conversation. I think we're just a little, maybe 10 minutes over time that we had planned.
Mm.
So next week, for all of those who've joined in, next week we continue this conversation and we talk about hormones and yoga, and, generally what are the things to look out for. If you have any questions about this entire thing for Pragya, please DM us. Please share this conversation with anybody who may really need it, because there are so many aspects of this journey that is not spoken about this way, right? Nobody talks about the finer, the softer parts, the softer power of
Mm.
yoga in this entire journey. Everybody is talking about, Supta Baddha Konasana is something, and this is something.
Yeah.
Asanas, as while I'm not trying to dismiss the effect that the physical practice has, I think this entire perspective and this entire frame of mind and the openness and generally the acceptance of everything is very important for people going through this journey. So thank you so much. It was wonderful talking to you.
Thank you,
Um,
Medha.
See you next
See you
week,
next
11:30.
week. Yeah.
Bye
See you then. Thank
bye.
you. Bye, guys.